we're going to graph some lines using point slope form, using that information that is embedded in the equation itself to help us graph. So as a quick review, we did this on page 75 on our summary page, but y equals m times the quantity x minus x1 plus y2 is called the point slope form, and that's because embedded in this equation is the slope, which is the number being multiplied by x, or outside the parentheses, if there's parentheses, and slope is rise over run, and the x1, y1 form an ordered pair that is a point on your line. So looking at number 14, you can see that y equals -2 times the quantity x minus 2 plus 1. There is information here. The number in front of x is our slope. And remember, when we're thinking about slope and we're thinking of rise over run, it is helpful to think of that as -2 over 1, so that, and we can think of that as -2 over 1. That is the same thing as 2 over -1. We can go in either direction. And then we have a point, and the x spot is going to go in the x spot of our ordered pair, and the number being added or subtracted on the outside is going to go into the y coordinate of our ordered pair. So our ordered pair would take this form. Now, because there is a minus in our equation, we take the opposite of what we see here. So -2 is a +2 point that we graph. And because it's plus y, it's exactly as it seems here. And so that +1 or +1 would go right here. So we're going to take a minute to graph this. You are going to go over 2, up 1. So this point right here is the point 2, 1. And once you know a point on your graph, you can use your slope to go to the next point. When I see -2 over 1, that tells me I can go down 2, because that is the negative direction. So I could go down 2 units, and then it's +1, that would be to the right 1, and that would give me a point right here. If I went in the other direction and I went up 2, that would be here, that's a +2, and then the -1 would tell me to go to the left 1, and I would put a point right here. When you're plotting, graphing a line, you need to plot at least 3 points to know. Personally, I like to keep going with my slope down 2 to the right 1, down 2 to the right 1, because it helps me line up my ruler. So it just helps me keep that straight. But you need to plot at least 3 points. Plot at least 3 points for every graph. That's always going to be true. And I will get my straight edge and connect those. So you just line up a straight edge. It can be a ruler, but it could also be, an index card, a piece of paper folded in half to give it a little thickness. And then you can see that all of the points that I plotted here fall on that line. Now it's your turn. Let's take a look at number 15 for you to plot. So mark down the slope and the point, and then plot the point and use the slope to graph the point. Pause your video here to do this on your own, and then check your answer. Hopefully you've done this on your own and found that the slope is -1/3. And remember, that can be -1 over +3, or you can think of that as 1 over -3, and that helps you know the direction for which you're graphing. And then the point that we have here, I see that I have with the x +2, so it's going to be a -2 as my point on my graph, and I see -4 in the y spot or outside being added. That means I'm going to have a -4 for my y. So x is the opposite of what you see. Y is the same as what you see. So I'm going to plot that point. -2, -4 is down here. And then if I go up 2, that would be this point, I would need to go left 3. So if I go up 1, I go left 3 for my next point. If I were to go down 1, that would be this part of thinking of my slope in this way, -1, and then I would need to go to the right 3 for my other point. And then you would take a straight edge and plot your points. One thing to notice for these two first graphs is that both slopes are negative in the equation. And if you look at our graph, that should make sense because our graphs are falling from left to right. So that is always a double check I like to look at to make sure that when I was doing my rise over run, that I didn't go in the wrong direction, and that my graphs are indeed decreasing as I go on or falling from left to right. So these graphs are both negative, which matches our slope. You're going to have a chance again to graph on number 16. Y equals 3 times the quantity x plus 5. Notice there is nothing being added or subtracted on the outside. If you would like, you can put a +0 there as a placeholder. Pause the video. Tell me what the slope, point, and the graph looks like. Quick check of what you have written down. So my slope is 3. So you can think of this as 3 over 1. You can also think of this, so this would be up 3 to the right 1. So up 3 and then right 1. You can also think of this as -3 over -1 because a negative divided by a negative is a positive, which would be down 3 and then left 1. So you can do either one of those directions and fall on the same line. Our point, opposite of what I see here, which is +5, so that means -5 in my ordered pair, and nothing being added or subtracted, which means I have a 0 out here. So if I plot this point, -5, 0 is right here. My slope being up 3, 1, 2, 3 over 1. You can draw, if it helps you to make the stairs, then make the stairs. And then up 3 over 1 to do another one. Again, it still works. You're going to still fall on your line. If you go down 3, you just have to go left 1. For this graph, you can see that it is a positive slope, +3, and my graph is going up or increasing as I go forward. If you remember Slope Dude, it was positive because he was working hard to go up the hill. And now take a look at 17. We have y equals -4x minus 6. Pause the video, tell me what the slope and the point is that we know here, and then plot those points. So for the slope, you had -4, which again, when you're thinking of it as rise over run, that negative can go with the 4, or it can go in the denominator with the -1. Hopefully you recognize that there was no parentheses, which means the x spot of our ordered pair is 0. You could also rewrite it in point slope form if you want to show that there's nothing, if you subtract 0 from x, it's still x, so it hasn't changed the value here. So our ordered pair would look like this. The point 0, -6 is no change with the x direction because there was nothing being added or subtracted to x. Down 6 at the -6. My slope could either be down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, which would be a little off my graph, and then to the right 1, or I could go from that point up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. And again, if you want to write your stair steps up and show your direction, up 4, left 1, up 4, left 1. You want to plot at least 3 points, and you can see they all lie in a line.